Let's saddle up, everybody. I'm going to show you how to tack up a horse today. Tacking up just means putting on the saddle, bridle, and other necessary equipment to ride the horse. I've been riding since I was about 6 years old. In my childhood, I did lots of competing in the hunter jumper shows. After I grew up, I was a groom on the A circuit and had some $1 million show jumpers under my care. I got a lot of experience there, and I'd really like to show you some of that today. Did you know how to tack up a horse? Odds are you don't. The American Veterinary Medical Association estimates that only 1.5% of American households are horse owners. So here's a quick how-to demonstration on how to tack up. The first thing we do is brush or groom the horse. It's pretty simple. We've got all kinds of different brushes. You've seen some crazy dog owners, I'm sure, that have lots of fun stuff for their dogs. We have fun stuff for our horses too. So grooming is basically just brushing. So I've got a stiff brush here, and I go with the grain of the coat with my stiff brush. This stiff brush gets down in the deeper part of the fur and gets the dirt and the debris out. Horses come in with all kinds of junk in their fur. This guy's come in with cactus stuck in his fur. So that was fun. This is a soft brush. The soft brush kind of gets the surface of the coat, the fine dust, whatever's sitting on top, and puts a little shine on their coat. You can go through and do as much grooming as you want to do on your horse. They enjoy it. It helps relax them before you ride. I haven't met a horse yet that didn't like to be groomed. Next, we're going to do some hoof care. Hoof care is pretty simple. You pick up one foot and you clean it out with a hoof pick. They could have little stones in there or mud, any little bit of debris. You don't want anything inside your horse's hoof when you're riding, because it's like having a rock in your shoe. It's uncomfortable. If you've got an uncomfortable horse, you've got an unhappy horse, you're going to have problems with that. So the first thing to do after you're done grooming to tack your horse up is to get your tack and organize it and make sure that it's clean and safe to use. First thing we do is get a saddle pad or blanket. We place it gently on the horse. Slide it back so you smooth out their coat underneath. It's kind of an uncomfortable sensation to put it on the wrong way. We put it up high over this bump right here. This is called the withers. When you're riding a horse, you're not actually riding way back on their back. You're kind of riding up on their shoulders. That's where your center of gravity is. Make sure that's nice and straight. Next, I'm going to take my saddle. I'm going to get this stuff out of the way and place it gently on the horse's back. You don't want to take your saddle and throw it up on their back. That's uncomfortable. Everything you do around these guys needs to be slow and gentle. They are large animals and they can be dangerous. No matter how long you've been working with them, you can be surprised, that's for sure. So once your saddle is placed on the horse, you want to get your cinch. I'm sorry, I'm kind of out of your line of view at this point. This big buckle here goes on a strap over here called the billet. I'm going to buckle that. And then there's another smaller one behind it. It's called a flank cinch. It's just a little support for the other cinch to keep it safely on your horse's back. A lot of rodeo people use that second cinch when they're moving really quickly. It keeps their saddle in place. I'm going to pull this saddle pad up a little bit so that it's not smashing down on his neck. So here's that cinch we were talking about. It goes right behind the elbow. Like I said before, we're not really riding way back on their back. It's more under their shoulders. So that's where the cinch fits best. This is called a latigo strap. The latigo strap is what you use to cinch your saddle on really tight. We use a bit of leverage doing that. So you put it on and loop it twice, sometimes more depending on what size equipment you're using. You give it a good pull, and it tightens up for you. You want to make sure everything's not too tight. I've done it a little too tight here. I can barely fit my hand in here. That's going to be uncomfortable for Paco, and he might get a little upset about that later. I'm going to loosen it a little bit. I'm going to buckle it through this hole. You don't want to ride with anything loose hanging down. It's something that can get caught and put you in a dangerous situation. So we're going to fold this up and just tuck it in. It'll stay out of the way while I'm riding and keep us all safe. There we go. Now I'm going to buckle the other side of this flank cinch. Some of this is new equipment, and it's a little stiff. We always put buckles in the keepers here. Then you're just going to check and make sure that nothing's loose, nothing's sticking out, and everything's clean and ready to use. So next we're going to put the bridle on. The bridle is what you use to control your horse. It consists of at least a head stall, which goes around their head and holds the bit in the mouth. The bit is what the reine's attached to, and you can pull your horse in either direction. They don't have teeth in the spot where the bit goes, and I wish I could show you that. Paco does not like anybody messing around in his mouth, so we're not going to do that today. But it's an easy thing to look up online. So it's pretty common knowledge in the horse world of how to safely and properly bridle a horse, but the Cowboy Way online has a really good tutorial, and I'll use part of their information here. They say to get ready to unbuckle the halter. You put your reins over the horse's head and undo the halter. By placing your reins over the horse's head, you have a way to keep him secured. Not all horses are just going to stand here and let you bridle them. They're going to want to walk out and go play outside. So now I've got him secured safely. This is my bridle. Here's the head stall that I was telling you about. This is called a throat latch. It just keeps the bridle on. This is the bit that goes in his mouth. So that safe technique I was telling you about on cowboyway.com is to place your hands with the bridle over the horse's head, and it naturally lowers his head. It's kind of a cool trick. If you have a horse that's head shy and they don't want you to be touching their ears, you can come around and hold the bridle with one hand and go over the nose. But that's really your plan B. Sorry, Puck. Okay, so putting the bit in the mouth is pretty easy. You want to be very gentle with how you put it in. Their front teeth can be sensitive, and you won't be banging them in the mouth with a big metal piece. It goes over the ears. Again, you want to buckle all the necessary pieces and put them in their little keepers. They don't like these little extra parts flopping around in their faces. I'm going to look over my bridle and make sure that nothing is out of place. It looks good to me. I think we're ready to ride. That was easy, wasn't it? So, tacking up a horse can be easy. Like I said before, it is so important that you do it properly. If you don't do everything properly and put things in the proper place and tighten everything down the way it's supposed to be, you're going to put yourself in a very dangerous situation. If your tack comes loose, like your saddle, while you're riding, you're going to have a fall. And like I said before, these are big, dangerous animals. Even though this one seems kind of like a goofball, he can be very dangerous, and you don't want any loose tack. There we go. All right, now you know how to tack up safely. Maybe sometime we can do another video on how to ride.